A friend of mine vanished last January. No posts, no stories, no replies to group chats. His phone went straight to voicemail for months. People started asking me if he was okay. I told them I had no idea because honestly, I didn't. Then he showed up at a mutual friend's birthday in July. I almost didn't recognize him. 30 pounds lighter, different posture, different energy. But the thing that really threw me off was his eyes. They were calm, focused, like he'd figured something out that the rest of us were still scrambling to understand. He'd spent 6 months in what he called ghost mode, deleted social media, moved his phone to a drawer, restructured his entire life around 3 things: his body, his mind, his work. While everyone else spent those 6 months refreshing feeds and arguing in comment sections, he rebuilt himself from the ground up. I watched another guy announce his transformation on Instagram that same January, posted his goals, shared his gym selfies, updated everyone on his progress every few days. By March, he was back to his old habits, making excuses about why the timing wasn't right. Same 6 months. One guy disappeared and came back unrecognizable. The other guy performed his transformation for an audience and stayed exactly the same. That's when I understood something that changed how I approach any serious goal. The world doesn't reward your intentions. It rewards your disappearance. Before we dive deeper, hit like and subscribe so you never miss our video, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Let me explain why going dark is so effective, because it's not obvious. I used to think public accountability was the key. Tell everyone your goals, post your progress, let social pressure keep you on track. That's what all the productivity content says, right? But I noticed a pattern with the most successful people I know, the ones who actually transformed their lives, their businesses, their bodies. They all had a phase where they went quiet, sometimes for months, sometimes for a year or more. One founder I know built her company to 7 figures during a period where she basically stopped existing online. I asked her about it later. She said something that stuck with me. Every time she posted about what she was building, she got a little hit of validation. People liked it. People commented. Her brain registered that as progress, but it wasn't progress. It was just performance. She was spending energy maintaining an image instead of building the actual thing. When she stopped posting, something shifted. The only feedback she got was from the work itself. No external validation to confuse the signal. Just her and the results, staring at each other honestly. That's the hidden tax of living publicly. Your brain can't tell the difference between talking about goals and achieving them. Both feel productive. Both release the same chemicals, but only one actually changes your life. Ghost mode strips away the performance. You stop managing how you appear and start managing who you actually are. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to structure 6 months of ghost mode. This is the system my friend used, refined with some things I've learned from others who've done similar resets. The first phase is the digital purge, and it's more extreme than you're probably comfortable with. Most people think digital minimalism means limiting screen time, setting app timer, being more intentional. That's fine for maintenance, but for a real transformation, you need something more aggressive. My friend deleted every social media app from his phone on day 1. Not logged out, deleted. He changed his passwords to random strings he didn't memorize and stored them in a document he couldn't easily access. The friction of getting back on had to be higher than the friction of staying off. Then he went further. He moved his phone to a drawer in another room. Not his pocket, not his nightstand, another room entirely. He bought a $12 alarm clock so he had no excuse to keep the phone by his bed. For the first 2 weeks, he told me it was brutal. His hands kept reaching for something that wasn't there. He felt phantom vibration. He'd walk into rooms and forget why, because his brain was so used to filling every gap with a scroll. But around week 3, something clicked. He started noticing things. The way light came through his window in the morning. Conversations with his wife that lasted more than 30 seconds. Ideas that showed up during the empty space that used to be filled with other people's content. The average person spends over 4 hours a day on their phone. That's 28 hours a week. Over 6 months, that's more than 700 hours you're getting back. That's not a small optimization. That's a second life running parallel to your first one. If you're serious about using this reclaimed time to build real wealth, you need more than motivation. You need a system. The VYBO Wealth Blueprint is the tactical playbook for turning focus into financial results. Not theory, not inspiration, the actual frameworks that separate people who who build wealth from people who scroll past videos about it. Links in the description. Grab your copy while you're still in the mindset to act. Now let's talk about what you do with your body during ghost mode. Here's something I didn't expect when I first heard about monk mode protocols. The physical piece isn't optional, it's foundational. My friend restructured his eating completely during those 6 months, not because he was chasing a six-pack, although he got leaner, because he realized his mental clarity was directly tied to what he put in his body. He kept it simple. No complicated meal plans, no counting macros obsessively, just 3 rules. First, he ate whole foods only. If it came in a package with more than 5 ingredients, he didn't touch it. Meat, vegetables, fruit, rice, eggs. Nothing processed, nothing engineered to make him overeat. Second, he stopped eating after 7 p.m., not for some metabolic magic, because evening eating was tied to his worst habits. Snacking while watching shows, reaching for food out of boredom. Cutting the nighttime window eliminated those triggers entirely. Third, he drank only water and black coffee. No alcohol for the full 6 months. No energy drinks, no sodas, just hydration and caffeine. The first month was rough. His body was used to sugar spikes and processed garbage. He had headaches. He was irritable. He craved things constantly. But by month 2, his energy stabilized. He stopped crashing in the afternoon. His sleep improved dramatically, and his thinking got sharper, like a fog had lifted that he didn't even know was there. I've talked to enough people who've done similar protocols to know this isn't unique to him. Clean up what you eat and your brain works better. It's not complicated. We just don't do it because the alternative is easier. Exercise was the other piece. He didn't try to become a bodybuilder. He walked every morning for 45 minutes. He lifted weights 3 times a week, nothing fancy, and he stretched every night before bed. The consistency mattered more than the intensity. 6 months of showing up beats, 2 weeks of going hard and burning out. His body transformed not because he did anything extreme, but because he did simple things repeatedly without the usual interruptions. This is where ghost mode actually produces results you can measure. My friend restructured his work around a concept he called protected hours. Every morning from 6 a.m. to noon, he worked on his most important projects with 0 interruption. No email, no calls, no meetings, no exception. He didn't check anything until after lunch. His phone was in the drawer. His computer was offline. Just him and the work, in a room that felt almost uncomfortably quiet at first. The first few weeks, he couldn't focus for more than 20 minutes at a time. His attention span had been shredded by years of constant switching. He'd sit down to work, and his mind would immediately start hunting for stimulation that wasn't there. But attention is like a muscle. The more you force it to hold on something, the stronger it gets. By month 3, he could drop into deep focus for 3 or 4 hours straight. Work that used to take him a full day started getting done before lunch. If you're ready to go deeper on these systems and connect with others who are building wealth the right way, consider joining our channel membership. Exclusive content, early access, and a community that's actually about results. Links below. Let me pull back for a second. We've covered the digital purge, the physical reset, and the deep work architecture. Those are the 3 pillars. But I want to be honest about something. The system isn't the hard part. Anyone can understand a system. The hard part is what happens when nobody's watching. Because here's the truth about ghost mode. You're going to have days where it feels pointless. Days where you want to post something just to remember you exist. Days where the silence feels less like peace and more like loneliness. The people who make it through those days are the ones who transform. Everyone else quits and announces their comeback on social media. So let's talk about how to survive the dark periods. A guy I know attempted ghost mode twice before it actually worked. The first time, he lasted 3 weeks. He got lonely, missed the validation, started justifying why he could check Instagram just once. That once turned into twice. By week 4, he was back to his old patterns, telling himself he'd try again when the timing was better. The second time, same thing. 2 months in, he convinced himself he was missing important opportunities by staying offline. What if someone was trying to reach him? What if he was falling out of touch with his industry? The fear of missing out pulled him back in. The third time, he did something different. He told 3 people what he was doing, not publicly, just 3 trusted friends who understood the goal. He gave them permission to ignore any messages he sent that sounded like justifications for quitting. He also scheduled a weekly check-in with himself. Every Sunday, he'd write down what he'd accomplished, what he was struggling with, and why he was doing this in the first place. That document became his anchor when the motivation disappeared, because motivation always disappears. That's not a failure state. That's just how brains work. The goal isn't to stay motivated. The goal is to build systems that keep you moving when motivation leaves. Let me remind you what's actually at stake here. You're going to spend the next 6 months somewhere, either rebuilding yourself in the quiet or maintaining your current patterns in public. The people you're competing with are making that choice right now. Some of them are going dark while you're watching this, getting stronger while everyone else performs their strength for an audience. 6 months from now, you'll either be the person who disappeared and came back transformed, or the person who watched a video about disappearing and kept scrolling. The gap between those 2 people isn't talent, it isn't resources, it isn't luck. It's whether you're willing to give up the short-term validation for the long-term result. I want to tell you what happened when my friend came back. He didn't announce his return, he just started showing up again, responding to messages, going to events, being present in ways he hadn't been before. But the dynamic was different. People treated him differently because he was different. The confidence wasn't performed. The calm wasn't manufactured. He'd actually built something real during those months, and it showed in ways he couldn't have faked. His business had grown significantly because he'd spent those protected hours actually working instead of talking about working. His relationships improved because he was fully present when he engaged instead of half there while scrolling. His health was visible in how he looked and moved. He told me the strangest part was how small social media felt when he came back. The things that used to seem urgent, the discourse, the drama, the endless opinions, all of it looked trivial after 6 months away, like watching children argue about something that doesn't matter. That perspective shift was worth more than any of the physical results. He'd escaped a game he didn't even know he was playing. Let me give you the condensed version you can screenshot. Phase 1, the digital purge. Delete social apps. Move your phone to another room. Buy an alarm clock. Create friction between you and distraction. Phase 2, the physical reset. Whole foods only. No eating after 7 p.m. Water and black coffee. Walk daily. Lift 3 times a week. Stretch every night. Phase 3, deep work architecture. Protected hours every morning. No email or calls until afternoon. Let your attention muscle rebuild through consistent use. Support structures. Tell 3 trusted people, and weekly written check-ins with yourself. Permission to feel lonely without acting on it. Set timeline, 6 months minimum. Shorter than that, and you're just taking a break. 6 months is enough and can actually become someone different. My friend disappeared for 6 months and came back unrecognizable. Not because he found some secret hack, because he removed everything that was keeping him average. The noise, the validation, the processed food, the constant interruption, the performance of progress instead of actual progress. You have the same 24 hours everyone else has. The question is whether you'll spend them rebuilding yourself in the quiet or maintaining your image in public. Ghost mode isn't comfortable. It's not supposed to be. Transformation happens in the silence, not the spotlight. 6 months from now, someone's going to look at you and barely recognize who you've become. The only question is whether that's because you did the work or because you're still exactly where you are right now. Your move, disappear.